Hey, how you doing, everyone? This is Alfred from Practical Code Academy, and in the previous video, we went over the typography and we created this component here where we use the typography component from Material UI library. In today's class, we're going to go over how you can use the button component. So I'm going to start by creating a new folder here because buttons, there's so many types of buttons that you can use. And today we're going to go over the basic button. For example, you can have button groups, toggle button, you can have loading button, icon buttons. So we're going to go over different types of buttons. So I will create a folder for buttons. And since we're going to use that basic button, I'm going to call the file MUI button.js. And I'm going to create a React function component or AFCE, and that will create the functional component for me. Now I'm going to go to the MUI.com, get started, and you go to components, and the button is considered in the group of the inputs here. And if you click here, you will see you have some examples about different types of buttons that you can create. You have a text button, outline button, content button. So there is 3 types of variants you can use with the button. By default, the button is text. So if you didn't add the variant, you just have the button component with no variant, it will be a text button. So the first step here, we need to import a component from the Material UI. So I need to import button, and you will see that Visual Studio Code, since we installed the libraries helping us, you want to install the button from MUI Material? Yes. Now I'm going to create a fragment here. And also I want to get the typography, and I can destruct the typography component in the same line, since I'm using the brackets here, destructing the components from the library. And I can also get the typography. And I'm going to put a title here using the typography, like an H5 heading, typography. And I'm going to put 1 buttons with variant prop. I'm going to create the first button here. And this is going to be a text button. If I save that file, and now I need to inject it to the app.js. So I'm going to remove the MUI typography component, and I'm going to import the MUI button. And this is the file. It's coming from components, button, MUI buttons. Now this is my custom component here. And if I save that, and you go to your local host, you should find that this text here, or this button here, is a text button. When you click on it, it have the scribble effects. I want to put the title. I forget to make it an H5. Give it some margin. We can do that. So I can put the variant, which is going to be H4 or H5. And we can actually here use a div instead of the fragment, and we're going to style it inline styling, where we're going to give it a margin of 20 pixels. And here we go. We push it 20 pixels from the side so we can see the button. And I'm also this heading, I'm going to give it gutter bottom just to have some margin to the bottom. There we go. Now I have my button here. So as I said, by default, it's going to be a text spine. Now I'm going to copy this spine 2 times, and I can use the variant prop here to have the contained variant, contained. And if you forget what you should type or the spelling or anything, you can always press Control Space, and it will load all the values like you see here, contained, outline, and text. So I'm going to select the contained. And of course here, the default is text. I'm going to type it here. And finally, the outline. Outlined. And I'm going to change the text here. If I save that and I take a look at my page, I have the 3 buttons, but you can see they are side by side. There is no margin. You can add styles here to these spines. You have this prop that's very, very helpful to add like custom styling, and also you have access to the theme props. It's called SX. And this SX can take an object. In that case, I want to use M, which is short for margin, and I want size 2. 2 means 8 multiplied by 2, because number 1 is 8, 2 is going to be 16 pixels. So it will give you margin surrounding this button of 16 pixels. You can use any custom styling here. You can add the color, background color, whatever you want. You can add it. It will take a regular CSS, plus it will have access to the theme properties of the Material UI. So it's very, very helpful. Think about it like it's inline styling for the components, and also will have this M or P for padding. You don't have to type in margin, which is going to be the same thing if you type it. But just for short, you can use the system properties. In that case, M is a system property. I'm going to add it for all of them to give all of them a margin of 16 pixels. And don't forget that it take an object, this one here, because the expression that you're going to pass and the expression that you're going to pass is going to be an object. M is equal to, and if you save that, you will have now margin between these points, and they have that kind of ripple effect when you click on them. You see the shadow here for the contained bind change when you click on it. Okay, that's for the variant prop. What other props that we can use with binds? There is a lot. We can actually copy this down, put a space, and now we're gonna talk about the colors of the binds, because right now we have only blue colors. Either when we click on it here or the outline, it's outlined with the blue color, and the contained one have a blue background. So binds color prop. So you can pass a prop that called color, and you can use the primary color, which is the default one. You can also use the secondary color, and you can use info color, also warning. You know what? I'm going to copy the contained one. So I'm going to copy this one. We can have warning. We can have success. And we can have error. And I'm going to make all of them actually contained. So we can see the background color. And I'm going to name them here primary, secondary, info, warning, success, and error. So the error is going to give you background color of red, success green, warning yellow, info is going to be like a light blue, and the primary is blue, and the secondary is purple color. So if you save that, and here are all the colors that you can use. Beside the color prop, you can use the size prop, which is going to make the button size to be small, medium, or large. So I'm going to create here another typography or another title here with variant H5. I'm going to put 3 button sizes. Let's change this button colors and also here button types. So you have the types, text outline, and contained, all the colors that you can use with the color prop. And now we're going to take a look at the size prop. So I can create a button where it's contained button. And also I'm going to give it some margin. And I can add the size prop, where the size prop can take small, medium, and large. And you see now Visual Studio Code actually tell me you want to use a large, medium, or small. By default, I believe is the medium is the default size. Now let's set it for small. And I can put here the text small. I'm going to copy it 2 times, medium, and large. Change the values here. Save that. Take a look at it. And now you have 3 sizes of the button. And I'm trying to create these files here like a sandbox for you. So you have a reference. So it's going to become like a documentation for Material UI. But definitely we're going to have, when we get to know more components, we're going to do like a small projects using the Material UI. And you will see how easy you can do projects with just knowing React and the Material UI. And it's going to be very interactive projects. All this custom buttons or Material UI buttons can take the own change prop, where you can pass a function with a state and update that state when the user click in the button. To test this, if you're not familiar with React, you simply, I'm going to add a typography here and copy one of these buttons. I'm going to call it handle clicks. And simply here, I'm going to create a button, says click me. And I want normal one. I'm going to add on click. And now when the user click, and I'm adding an event listener here, when the user click in this button, I want to execute a function that call handle click. So I need to create this function. And to create this function is very simple. I need a state. Let's say I have a constant clicked, set clicked, and this state will have how many times the user clicked this button. And you can use state to create the state. As you can see, use state imported from React. And now I have a state in React that will count how many times I clicked in this bind. We'll have a number, which is by default, it should be 0. So you can pass the default value here, which is 0. And I'm going to create the function constant handle click. And it's a function that will receive the event object. And what I want to do, I want to set clicked, and I want to increase it by 1. So I will access the previous state. You can pass a function here. The previous state, which was 0, and I'm going to add 1 to it. So we start with 0. Every time the user clicks in this button, we have the listener. We're going to execute this function, and this function will access the state, get its previous value, because simply we're going to add 1 to the previous value. The current previous value is 0, so we're going to add 1 to it to be 1. The user click on it again, it's going to be 2, and so on. Okay, now I want to show the user how many times he clicked this button. So I'm going to put a paragraph here, typography, and if you remember the variant for a paragraph, it's body 1 or body 2. So I'm going to use body 1. You clicked me, and I'm going to put here clicked value or my state times. So now if I save that, and now notice every time that I'm going to click this button, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's interactive. It don't need to refresh the page. Beside that, there is 2 more props I want to show to you. There is going to be some situations that you're going to need to use them. So I'm going to create another category here, typography, with variant H5. I'm going to call it other props. This is 4, and this is 5. Other button props. And I'm going to create 2 buttons. And this button, I'm going to call it disabled elevation with type contained, or the variant here contained. And you will notice that every single contained button, it's get elevated. It have some shadow underneath it. If you want to disable the shadow, you can simply use the prop disable elevation. And it's a Boolean prop, so you just have to put it, and that's mean it will disable the elevation. You don't have to set any value to it, and that should disable the elevation of the contained button. We have also disable ripple. Notice when you click in the button, you will see the ripple effect in them. We can disable that kind of effect by disable ripple. And let's see. And of course, I didn't add the margin. I can copy from here. Copy. And if you take a look now, you will notice that this button don't have a shadow underneath it. And now when I click on it, there is no shadow. But this one, you will see like it's there is a shadow when I click on it. So now we have disabled the elevation of this button, but you still have the ripple effect. You will have this kind of ripple effect when you click on it. However, the other button, you don't have this ripple effect because we disable it here. I hope you like this video, and I'll see you in the next video where we're gonna be going over group buttons, how you can group buttons together. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.